right, my lovers, it's Khandie. This is a specially requested episode, so welcome to the Loud Lens. Everyone keeps banging on about elevating your client experience. Even I've said it. And it's like some magical unicorn that instantly gets you clients, raises your prices, and makes you look like a bloody superstar, doesn't it? Well, the truth is, most photographers haven't got a clue what that actually means. And worse, they think it means adding a few props, some fancy lighting, or maybe a coffee bar. So today we're going to unpack it because honestly, the idea of a client experience has become like a marketing buzzword that every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Petunia, and Persephone, or whatever, has said. And they milked it to death. And I have said it myself. And I realised when somebody asked me in the Facebook group, the Loud Lens with Khandie, the one where you can come and request special episodes, what does it actually mean? I was like, oh, God, yeah, actually, what does that mean? Because you can say it, but what does it mean? So I'm going to strip it back, keep it real, as the kids say, and show you exactly what makes a client go, whoa, this photographer really gets me versus, nah. Okay, so we're gonna set the scene, all right? We're gonna just lay it out there. I am a little bit stuffy because I'm a little bit ill still, but I thought I'd record it, which is ironic because I've just finished recording a podcast about what to do when you're sick. So it's almost like the universe went, let's hand you some flu, love. So, client experience is something people talk about. You see Instagram posts, marketing guides, workshops, people on stage, myself, saying, elevate your client experience. They scream, they shout, they do it as a tagline, but no one actually explains what it really is. So, I'm going to tell you straight, clients don't care about your camera. They really don't give a flying F about your new lens. They want an outcome. They care about how easy you make it for their lives to exist. They want it to be as smooth as possible. So when I got I'm going to go back to my first ever big paid shoot, and it was with a Nikon D90. I know, remember that? Do you remember those Nikon D90s? No fancy lens. I didn't have a studio. It was just me and some natural light. And I was just out there. In fact, where was I? I'm trying to remember. I think I was in Pinner, which is in Greater London. And I was in Pinner and I was photographing it. And I was like, look at me. I'm so good. I'm such a good photographer. Oh my God. Everybody just be in awe of me. I'm amazing. No, don't get me wrong, the client loved the pictures, but the thing is, I made the whole thing clear and simple and enjoyable because, to be frank, I didn't know how to complicate it. I just knew they wanted this picture. I took me and reflect. We're out for the graveyard, I think, in Pinner, which is where someone's daughter is buried. That's quite famous. I'm sure it's Nelson or Napoleon. It doesn't really matter. It's also where they filmed the In-Betweeners, which was weird because I'd literally come out of where I was living and they'd be filming on the street and stopping us all from walking down there. But also, as if I remember rightly, David Suchet, who played Hercule Poirot, lived in the village. Anyway, I digress. Imagine putting your bins out and see you in Hercule Poirot. Anyway, doesn't matter. I am delirious. So I went out to this graveyard. I was like, I knew what I was doing. She wanted this, like, she didn't know what it was called. She sent me some pictures. It's called bokeh. We know that. The balls of light, yeah, it translates as. And we knew that there was some trees up there. And luckily the light hit so beautifully that way. And you had the trees. So it just made sense. It was an elevated platform. So there was nothing blocking it because the trees were behind. So it was just fantastic. The client loved it. There was no fluff. There was no coffee bar. There was no prop ball. It was everything from first contact to them holding their prints in their hand. They loved it. It was simple. It was done. Okay. For me, that was a great client experience for that client. But that isn't the only client experience. There is so much about what I did in that first shoot that I carry on now, years. Oh my God, nearly a decade. It's actually a decade. It's over a decade. Oh my God. I'm old. I'm old. I've still got that D90. It still works, by the way. Years later, and it went to Cambodia with me. It got all gross. Yeah. Humidity is not a friend of digital photography. So I carry that with me. So let's talk about the real meaning of client experience, okay? Like, let's just talk about it because I feel when I hear it, it's just a load of waffle, isn't it? Client experience. Okay, what's that mean? Everyone goes, oh yeah, just make it easier for them. But no. I need you to explain. Like, could we lay it out? Could we put some foundations out? Could you help us? Okay, yeah, I can help you, honey. So first impressions, it's about setting the tone from the moment they interact with you, okay? I don't just mean your IG grid, although yes, it helps. I mean every interaction. Keep things clear and have speed of reply. That's not like immediately do it, but make sure you're not going days without replying to people. Be clear about your services, your prices, and what they get. Don't make them hunt through 27 pages of a website or miles of a contract. Don't wait 3 days to reply to them. You can't be like that. When people book a photo shoot, I have it. If you book one, you can go test it out yourself. Go to my website, go into my contact form, and say you want a photo shoot. You'll get a reply. Why? Because I want them to know that I'm replying to them and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. That instant auto reply sometimes it ends up in their junk mail for whatever reason, but they have a reply from me, okay? Because I want them to know that I've got it and it gives them that warm, fuzzy feeling, yeah? I want people to go, Khandie replies to people, right? When someone says, there's a lot of that in there. When somebody says, oh, how much are your portraits, Khandie? I'll change the portrait thing. Says, what are you looking for? Headshots? Are you looking for family portraits? Are you looking for business ones? And I have it all linked there for them. They're not hunting for anything. Khandie, what are your wedding packages? There you go. Like, I put my prices up because I don't want the to and fro. I want them to have the information, know if I'm in your budget. And if I'm not in your budget, you don't have to bother me anymore, do you? I know it's very blunt, but let's be honest. Because why would I want to spend 3 or 4 top emails going back and forth? What's your budget? And they go, actually, I've only got 500 quid and my smallest one is 900. Like, I don't want to be rude. Like, I'm just not your photographer. Why would I waste time doing that email? If it's all there, that's why I advocate for putting prices on your website. I'm just like, it's there. Some people say, "Oh, yeah, but you can slowly get them into it." I'm like, "No, no, I don't wanna waste time. It's personal choice. It's just what I do." Okay? Now, I have a horror story for you. I once worked with a photographer who was like, "I'm not getting clients in. They're not responding to me." I was like, "Okay, let's have a quick look." I found out that, 1, they weren't replying to DMs promptly. I mean, one of the DMs they were sent was sent a week ago. They didn't get a reply. They didn't reply to it. And when they did, their emails were quite messy, as in, like, they didn't answer the questions that was emailed to them. They didn't like, I always change the title of the email to Khandie Photography and the shoot they want or the date they're requesting so that when people are replying, they can see it's from me. Yeah. The client was basically left to feel like they were disorganized. And so most of their clients were not wanting to book with them. They were like, I want to move on. I don't want to deal with this. This isn't my kind of person. All right. I know it's really awful, but this, and I keep going on about my client management software, and I know I name drop it a lot. Shouldn't. It has paid back in dividends what it cost me. Automated replies. I can see all my emails. I can see when I've got a reply to something. Like, it's just there, and it just makes everything a lot slicker. Also, the client portal, which is where my clients can go. They have a little link. They go in. They can see the contract. They can see the invoices, the questionnaire, any notes I've left for them, things like that. And I think that's really, really good. You don't have to go get that yet. There is a discount code on it, but this is not affiliated with them. I'm just saying having that has made my client experience a lot better. I did try other ones. My clients weren't as happy when I did my little test group. This one's the one that works. I think mainly because it's from Australia for a start, so it has a very British sense to it. I know it sounds really weird, but even things down to the spelling. With other ones, they were American based, so the spelling sometimes was American, whereas the Australian one is British spelling. I don't know how else to explain it. Just little things like that, okay? I mean, for me, if you don't want to have that, I definitely recommend drafting a pre-booking email template that explains your process, your pricing, what's included, and next step, and then have it sent out within 24 hours of an inquiry, and instantly you'll look more professional. Just have it saved somewhere that you can just copy it across, put it in if you don't have the automation. But and it's also things like, you know, when someone books you for an event, you need to know what time it starts, where it is, how quick do they want the imagery, all of that, rather than doing the back and forth. Because the last thing your client wants to do is spend hours with you going back and forth over the details. If you whack it all out in an email, they can fill it in. I don't use an email, I use a questionnaire. The questionnaire is built deliberately around whatever they're saying. So if they're doing an event, I send them out an event questionnaire. This is why I used to do it. Okay, I've plugged them enough now. They're not actually endorsing this podcast in any way, but it's something I use, and I do sometimes get asked to endorse. I actually today no, I'm lying. It wasn't today. It was yesterday. Turned down a bit of money to go onto my podcast here and talk about a system that I've never used. And they said, "But don't worry, we'll tell you what to say." I was like, "No, I can't endorse it because I've never used it. If you want to send it to me for me to use, and then I can do a fair assessment." They even told me what words I had to say. I was like, "No, no. If you want me to promote it, it has to be promoted in a way that I feel comfortable with." So I didn't. So there you go. See, that's what I use. What I use. I actually pay for my Studio Ninja. I didn't get it as a freebie. Although I do get discounts now, I think, by people joining. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, just to be transparent with you all. The other thing is contracts, payment systems, and pre-session prep. They're all part of that client experience. That's a lot of P's, isn't it? Payment, pre-session prep. It's all about making sure that it makes it easy. Contracts protect you, make the client feel safe, so you don't want to skip it. You want it to be very easy. I know people are still printing off contracts, getting the client to sign it, and then they're storing them. We've moved on to digital signatures. We can use it. You can still use it if you want, but I just think it's really clunky. And I don't think it looks as slick as it could. It's down to payment systems. Make it easy. I have multiple ways to pay me. PayPal, Stripe, I think it was, bank transfer. I'll even take cash. I don't take check though. Excuse me, I've got a really snotty nose. Ugh, flu. And I've had my flu jab. Shocking. People don't want to deal with clunky bank transfers if they can, and they don't want to be chasing invoices from you. I have my invoices set up with reminders of when they're due to pay. Okay. Everything is done for me. I just don't understand why people wouldn't want to make it easier to get your money. Pre-session prep is huge. Give them guides, what to wear, how to style themselves, how to prep the kids, the dogs, the husband, or the wife, whoever. Make it smooth, make clients feel cared for. It's not that easy. Sorry, it's not that hard to do. You can put it in your email. You can have it as a pre-email that gets sent out. I have one about headshots that goes out. I send examples out. And it's all about having that personal touch. I also have it in my questionnaire. Is there something you'd like me to know about you? Because that makes them feel warm and fuzzy. Like maybe their little one loves rainbows or is obsessed with Harry Potter or little things. So when I have my session, I can quickly look at the notes they've gone and talk about those things to make them feel comfortable. It's not just a random exercise. And the other side of why I use that questionnaire system is in the event that the person is neurodivergent or has specialist requirements, such as can we have less smell, no noise? Can it be warm? Can it be cold? I've got it set up ready that I already know that so I can prepare their session to be more bespoke and people love it. Okay, it's not just come as you are and let's just hope for the best. I'm asking specifics, and you'll be surprised how many clients will notice when you actually listen to them. It's so important for you to do this, okay? Like, really pay attention to your clients. But this is when we come onto the shoot itself, this is all part of the client experience. And this is where a lot of photographers, I will say, who I've mentored or I've watched in the groups, kind of mess it up a little bit. They either stress out, get bossy, or forget their client is a human being and not a prop. Punctuality, organisation, and professionalism, they aren't optional. If you're late, if you're chaotic or funny with your kit, your client notices and it does ruin their experience, okay? Comfort matters. Know how to keep people at ease. I actually have a YouTube video on this actually. Kids, pets, shy adults, your job is to make them feel confident in front of the camera. And not everybody is born to pose. So guide them, but don't overcomplicate it. I talk about this. Like we can say, oh, because you put your right arm out and people panic. So I just get them to mirror me, or I show them on a guide photo. Or I don't like to touch my clients. Some of them are like, just show me how to do it. And I'll be like, ooh, I try. That's like my last final resort. Okay. I'm all about just trying to make it easy for them to follow me and understand. So I once had a client panic about their outfit very last minute. And it was because we were doing their branding shots and she'd gone on to some new colours and she said, oh, shall I wear my brand colours? I was like, yeah, you can. But maybe we could do some transitional ones because obviously you're not quite done your changeover, but also you don't want to isolate your clients from your previous brand onto this new brand. So we did like a mix. So we did some tweaks, and then when she arrived, we did the session and she loved it. And that shows that I paid attention to her and her client experience was brilliant because I'm showing it in action. I'm solving problems calmly and efficiently and giving them what they want. Okay. So when clients are waiting for their images, this is your golden moment if you like to wow them. Keep them updated. I love sneak peeks, particularly on weddings. Not everybody does it, but I do. And I make sure I deliver on time. I never want to miss my deadlines. Ever, ever, ever. Why? That is the number one thing I see in all the wedding groups, in the portrait groups where people complaining. It's not about the images so much. It's about, I got married in August. My wedding photographer said they'd have to me in 4 weeks. I haven't got them. And people are like, oh, that's terrible. That's awful. Then the photographer's going, um, oh, well, if that's in your contract, please remember though, it's peak season. No, no, no. If you can't give them the 4 weeks that you promised them in the contract, you need to update your contract, honey. You cannot just assume that people are going to be okay with that. They sign a contract, you need to adhere to it. So if you know during the peak time of weddings, you can't deliver a contract images within 4 weeks, you need to be pushing that back to 8 weeks or whatever it is. But do not miss those deadlines at all. Presentation matters. Online gallery, your USBs, your prints, your albums, even a small thank you note counts. But don't go overboard trying to be luxury if it's not your style. Clients care about smooth, stress-free delivery more than they care about props and lavender plants inserted into bows in their wedding albums, okay? The bottom line is clarity, speed, a little human touch is all it takes. I mentored a photographer, right? and she did mini sessions for families, right? Mini sessions. And her starting point was £59. And her top package, I think, even if you bought the entire images, was £3.59. Okay. And I said, show me what you would give somebody who bought everything, right? And she went, oh, yeah. So they get this little booklet, and then I put a lavender sprig in it, and then a Hessian bow, and then they get some chocolates, and then they get this USB. And I was like, right. Okay. It's very pretty, but this is very high end. And it turned out she was spending nearly £50 on a package just to have all the stuff in front of her to give to her clients. I'm like, well, if that's the case, you need to raise your prices. She's like, why? So because this is very luxury, but you're aiming at a very low end market. And there's no shame in that. But, if you're wondering why you're not making money, this is why you're not making money. You're spending more of your profit once you've paid your time back, once you pay for all your expenses. And one of the biggest expenses you have in every session is this box that you create for people. Oh, but people love it. Then lift your prices up to reflect that. You can't give them everything if you're not making them pay adequately for it. I know it's really awful to say, but like, oh, I went to her little studio, right? And this little studio had a full professional espresso bar thing going on. There was like chocolate bars, there was sweets, there was a fruit bowl. I get it, but all of that is expense, and not your price point does not reflect that expense. I've been to really expensive photographer studios, and I'm lucky if I get a cup of tea and I still enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to think about how you're presenting yourself and how you're doing this, but it might be that you're going overboard. Okay? Say that great client experience doesn't stop at delivery. Follow up respectfully, say thanks, ask if they'd like a review, if they'd like to leave a review, keep them in the loop for future shoots. Like, have that mailing, add them to the mailing list if they agree. Like, keep them there. Returning clients, as I've said to you, are easier and cheaper to work with than hunting for new ones. This is why elevated experiences turn into actual business growth, because they want to come back. I have a massive amount of returning clients, be it from business headshots to boudoir to even wedding clients who have me for their wedding, want me for their family photos, want me for their Christmas photos. I get booked and busy from a lot of returning customers, and it's less time for me advertising. I don't have to start afresh with them. They already know what I'm about, and it just works. Okay. Investing in client experience lets you charge more and avoid stress. Clients pay for peace of mind and confidence, not just the image. Remember, you're giving them an experience, so you need it to be an experience and not a bad one. Stop thinking fancy props make better experiences. Instagram worthy studio somehow builds loyalty. It doesn't. Clear communication, professionalism, and genuine care equals repeat business, referrals, and less stress for you. And I'm going to tell you very categorically, my studio is not Instagrammable. My studio is a white room with a bit of carpet down on one side and the shooting space on the other. I have no bougie entrance. I do not have you know, artwork all over the walls that isn't my own. Like, every bit of a hot up there is my photography because I'm selling packages off of it, right? I don't have a sexy chill out area. I have a little dressing room area. It's functional, and I'm very happy, and I get repeat clients. Why? Because people know they like the work, they like working with me, and they buzz it. Literally yesterday, I sat down with one of my clients who was having a tough time in her personal life, right? And I'm not going to say what was going on, but we spent about 20 minutes of the session letting her just vent how she feels. I handed her a cup of tea, handed her a tissue, and said, let's just get it all out before we get on that place, and you can feel better about your phone. And you know what? She sent me this morning the most beautiful message online saying, just thank you for doing what you did, Khandie. You really made me feel better. In fact, I can read it. Let me grab my phone. Hi, Khandie. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you so much for the shoot yesterday. The images really do show how I'm starting to grow. I also want to say thank you for the pep talk before. I've got to leave this bit out because it's about the person, the situation more, the person's personal life. Does that make sense? I just want to say it really made me feel better, and I feel more confident moving forward. Thank you so much for the pep talk. I feel like now I need to pay you as a therapist. I can't wait to work with you again. Hopefully it'll be in the new year. Okay, that's lovely. That's lovely. I don't mind if my clients want to talk about stuff. What they say to me is personal, it's kept to me. You know, I'm not going to divulge it. I'm there to listen, because sometimes things happen in people's lives. People are going through things that you wouldn't know about. And just knowing that they can talk to me it's just lovely. Okay. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to be very, no. But when you're asking people to be vulnerable in front of your camera, you're going to get them vulnerable with their emotions. Okay. I'm just going to say, if you get this wrong with your client experience, while you might shoot amazing photos, your clients don't go away with that warm, fuzzy feeling. They could feel confused, conflicted, undervalued, frustrated. And it doesn't matter how nice the photos are. If you're a bit of a douchebag to try and book in with, or you're difficult to book in with because all the systems are everywhere, they will eventually take their money elsewhere. You can have the most expensive gear, the fanciest studio, but if you're messy, unclear, or a headache to work with, your client experience is going to be trash. And genuinely, people will not want to stay and hang around. Okay. Conversely, a clean workflow, thoughtful communication, and genuine care elevate you far beyond any Instagram aesthetic ever will. I've got one exercise for you today. I want you to map every step your client journey from first contact to image delivery. Where are you making it easier? Where are you finding friction? And fix it, because that's where the gold lies. The moment I switched over to a client management software, instantly I got more retention of clients. People were saying how easy it was to book with me. I had automated replies. Everything was just easier to deal with. And it's even down to the fact that, like I said earlier, if you book me for an event, I'm not going back and forth going, oh, where is it? What time is it? Like, I just send a questionnaire, you fill it in, I get the information, I can see it all there. It's great. I'm not spending ages doing that. And guess what? I'm not even doing it. The automations are doing it. I'm just sat here happy, like, show me the money. Is that wrong? At the end of the day, I'm here to make a living. Okay. So show me the money. If you want me to help you with that, I do offer mentoring services to help you maybe look at your client journey. I'm not affiliated with a specific brand, so I'm happy to work with you on others. But also I can, get your mate to be a pretend client, and they have to be brutally honest with you though. You need that angry friend. But here's what I want. I want to hear from you now. What is your best client experience win, and what has been your most disastrous fail? It be you as the person who is the client or the person who is selling the service. DM me, tag me on socials, whatever. Let's laugh, cringe. It'll be anonymous, okay? And learn together. If you need help auditing or improving your client experience, obviously I'm mentoring. I do workshops for that. Don't forget you can catch me at the BIPP. You can catch me at the photo show and at the societies. I'm more than happy to engage and chat with you. Ask me any questions. I don't like gatekeeping. Let's get it sorted, because the moment your client experience starts running smoothly, the better it is and it sells itself. And that's it for today. Go map your journey, cut the fluff, fix the friction, and elevate. Okay. I'll catch you next time. I'm going to go and blow my nose. It's been a beautiful day out. Oh God, there's sunshine. What is this? There's sunshine. Ooh. Anyway, this has been Khandie. This has been The Loud Lens, and you are about to go do some work.